Nope. Start this over here. I can put it there. Oh, that's worked perfect. Perfectly. We are live. Your boy Jay Millie is back in effect. This is the first live with the new rules. So I hope everybody that comes in, well, first I hope y'all watch the video, and so if you watch the video, we should have no complications. Yo, what's going on, Black Star? Yeah, this won't be a sports talk live, Oh. Oh yeah. I don't care about that stuff. If it's not my team, I can care less. No, that's all good. That's why I put the title West Coast, because that kind of when you put that type of title, that kind of like, okay, all right, he's not going he gonna be talking about that. He ain't gonna be talking about that. So there's a couple things I want to talk about. I want to discuss some things that's been going on, and that does have something to do with the West Coast. But it's been a lot of interesting things going on. I've been seeing on the airwaves, and I really got to ask myself. I really, really, really got to ask myself. Is it even worth paying attention to a lot of this stuff that they put out there? Because first I want to say this. That Red Bull cipher that they just did with YG, Mozzie, and J-Rock, dope. I'm not a big old Mozzie person or whatever. I necessarily don't even rock with him, even with the music thing, for obvious reasons. But his talent is there, has always been there. I never said he was a sorry rapper, or he was Boosie or anything like that. We're gonna get to an individual in a minute that defines all of that. But yeah, he tore it up. YG tore it up. J-Rock tore it up. Now we need the other side. Now we need the other side. You know what I'm saying? Representation, as they say, representation. So, but speaking of the goofs, there's one particular goof by the name of Blueface, who just recently got out and already in all kinds of stuff that ain't good. And he feels the need to put this stuff on the internet. Like I seen a little thing that Nina Boy had showed today. He had did a reaction. I guess these two girls was, it was one girl that Blueface just made, and I guess it was a girl that was already there, and they sitting there bickering and calling Blueface the B and all this and all that. And I'm just like, didn't you learn anything from being locked up? You come out and do the same thing. Now, I know some people like, oh, yeah, you got some bad ones and all this and all that. Personally, I think it's goofy, because this is the thing. And this is what Blueface got to understand. Once you done step foot behind them doors, they is watching your ass every single moment from that day forward. There ain't nothing you will be able to do without them knowing about it. You know what I'm saying? RB, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you already got drama going on, you know what I'm saying? You come out dissing the Bloods, and you know what I'm saying? They want your head, and your section calling you out for a DP and all this and all that. But like a lot of that stuff, I'm not even concerned with. You know what I'm saying? That's his own matter. He has to deal with. You know, and by the way, Blueface, it don't make a difference how long you've been in the set. As long as you're active with the set, you can get a DP. Period. Okay. Just in case, I spent about 10 years. Well, if you spent that long, then you would know that you can get a DP. Okay. Your status does not keep you from getting a DP. Okay. I want to put that out there in case people aren't quite clear on that, because obviously he's not. But then I hear one of the worst songs, and I don't know how anybody can sit there and say that that's a good song. I don't know how anybody can say that that's a good song. That is by far one of the worst songs ever made in rap history. And to an individual that says there like, yeah, it's a cool song. What's cool about it? He's sitting there making funny sounds and sound like a farm animal. It's like, what this is what you come back with? This is what you come back with? Like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. What's going on, guys? You got to be kidding me. Like, what was that? Can anybody explain to me what that was? Because he says a few bars, and then he goes into this whole sound matrix thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what in the world is this dude talking? Man, he sound like a wounded animal on the side of the road. You know what I'm saying? Screaming out for some help. That's how bad it is. Like, come on. Like, most dudes that rap and get locked up, when they get out, they usually put together better music than they had before. You know what I'm saying? And he just and this stuff constantly goes on. And see, my thing is this. We are trying to reestablish ourselves in this music scene. And it's been a constant stop and go, 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 stop and go. There's no consistency, because one of the things that we keep doing over here, we keep praising and just basically co-signing a lot of bad music. And there was a time where if Blueface came out with that, like, let's just say 20 years ago. Let's just say 20 years ago. We ain't got to go back into the 90s. We'll keep it in the 2000s. What's going on, Daniel? If he was to drop that song, hold on, y'all. All right, sorry about that, y'all. I had a delivery, so I had to get that real quick. Oh, whew. Okay. Let's see. We got Muhammad. I see you up in here. What's going on? See what's happening? Okay. Gary World, have you been in contact with the federal agent? I'm not going to discuss that on here with you. Yeah. Why would you even come in here and ask me that question? Like, don't come in here and ask me that type of stuff. Let's see. Yeah, so so yeah, like I was saying, you know, the fact that people are praising this type of stuff, like, you know, oh yeah, you know, if you go back to just what is it, 2020, if you go back to 2005, Blueface is getting murdered for dropping a song. He's getting clown roasted, bagged on, all of that. You know, it was like, like, and for people to sit there like that, like, stop it. That type of stuff. And that type of stuff ain't never been good or acceptable. And you supposed to be a real one coming out with that goofy old music, like, for real. And then you got reputable people over there co-signing and stuff. I'm just like, what kind of goofball stuff is this going on? Like, you know, like, we're supposed to be getting respected in this music game. That does not help that. That does not help that. You know, it's that's you know, and look, if that's the type of music he want to make, cool, fine. But don't come out here trying to act like some hard ass and then coming out with Disney songs, Nickelodeon. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't come out here and try to portray something and then you come out with the hee ooh, yeah, ooh, like, like, come on now. Anybody bumping that in their neighborhood, y'all should have y'all hood card revoked immediately. They always play that. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but that's just one thing, though. You know what I'm saying? The other thing, you know, that's been kind of like irking me a lot is, you know, all this prison talk, all this jail talk. Like, what? Do these dudes not understand that everything that they're doing is counterproductive to the message? Everything that they do is counterproductive to the message. Like, they'll say one thing according to the message, and then they'll turn around and go on either their platform or they'll go on like a no jumper platform, and they will totally go against the message. Like, just being on no jumper alone is going against the message. But these goofballs, Aunt Hefe and Munchie B and the rest of them goofball so-called gangsters want to sit up here and constantly get on that show and get pimped out. You know what I'm saying? All due respect to Captain Rick Rock, but I don't give a damn about No Jumper's new setup. It's the same BS. You know, we can't sit up here and say one thing and then turn around and co-sign the other thing. It don't work like that. This is why we have not progressed to where we need to progress to. This is why we're always stuck in this limbo of trying to find a way out. And every time we find a way out, we always seem to do things to keep ourselves right in the middle of it. And I'm just like, this doesn't make this looks bad. I can't speak for everybody else. I can't speak for every other state and all that. And for anybody to tell me that I can't speak on LA, you need to do your homework before you tell me I can't speak about LA. You know what I'm saying? Because it just ain't even LA. This is the entire state of California, and people who constantly get up here and do this and then sit here and then they want to fabricate stories. You know what I'm saying? Or change the narrative of stories just to feed their little biasness that they have, because they don't want to acknowledge other stuff that has happened or goes on, because they don't like so-and-so or this person or that person because of something that might have happened 20, 30 years ago, and you still up in your feelings about it. So now you're going to try to divert the history and put it into something that it's not. And that's up and down the board on the coast. That's up and down on the board. Don't make a difference if you're from Northern California or Southern California or even Central California. The story always gets changed. Nobody can seem to kick the story and keep it down that same line. That's why I always pump up my channel to being one of those channels. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't divert history. Everything that I tell y'all from point A to point B is right down where it needs to be. I don't need to divert history. I don't need to change narratives, put false stuff on anything, because this stuff actually happened. You know what I'm saying? And you guys have heard different people come on my platform and basically they was there. They was there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to bring you somebody that wasn't there to try to kick a story that they heard from somebody else. But that seems to be a lot of the things that a lot of these creators seem to do. They get this secondhand knowledge from somebody else and then get this like, nah, what's the real story? What's the real story? You know what I'm saying? Because then when the truth comes out, you know what I'm saying? You got to do a whole lot of this and that and and most guys' ego won't allow them to take accountability that they were wrong. And the one thing that has been one of the measures is, it don't make a difference what I am. I'm a man first. Period. I'm a man first before anything. But a lot of these dudes don't do manly things. But they'll claim to you that what they're doing, it really is that. It's kind of like how people get up here, they talk about, you know what I'm saying, pull up for the fade, and you know what I'm saying, let's do it here and do it there, and ain't nobody done it. Well, except for a few. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say it ain't happened, because it has happened, and we have seen it happen. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, no, you know what I'm saying, it ain't gonna happen because it's never happened. No, it has happened. You know what I'm saying? It just don't happen at the number where people feel comfortable enough to say that it happened. No, if it happened, it happened. It don't make a difference if it's one time or two times, you know what I'm saying, 3 times, 1,000 times. If it happened, it happened. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop sitting here and try to change everything. Like, we got to stop doing that. Because that does nobody no good. You know what I'm saying? So, Crunchy B dissed Nipsey after his death. What a coward he would. Yeah, well, that fool getting That fool's getting pimped harder than you know what I'm saying? He getting pimped harder than them girls on the street, you know, because they just using him. He's a pawn. That's all he is. He's a pawn. Now they don't know what a man. Nah, they don't. They don't. And I noticed that. I noticed that the day I started seeing males wearing skinny jeans. I noticed that. I notice how we'll take something that no way in the world will we ever dare wearing at no point in time. Now it's like fashionable to do that type of stuff. Nah, you know, I ain't I don't go with the trends. You know what I'm saying? I don't go with the trends. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that I like and it's trendy, okay, that's one thing. But that's not going to be the first thing I go after, you know, because it's not the other thing. Kind of in a broader picture, it's a materialistic world, you know, and people have in their mind like, oh, I gotta have this and I gotta have that. You can't take it with you, or or better yet, you know what I'm saying? As we see a lot out here on the West Coast, out here flashing all that jewelry and everything. Woo, woo, bow. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a gift and a curse. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I gotta have my kids in this and I gotta have my kids in that. Woo, 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 woo. Why? Well, I don't want my kids getting talked about and everything. Your kids gonna get talked about anyways. Your kids gonna get talked about anyways. It don't make a difference if you wearing Jordans or if you wearing some hand me down. You know what I'm saying? Nikes. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, shoot, what don't get spoken about is the fact like even a lot of them preppy kids, shoot, they get clowned more than they be coming to school all fashioned up and everything, and they get roasted. Do you hear me? They get roasted. So it don't make a difference. You know what I'm saying? Your fashion ain't gonna stop anything from anything happening compared to anybody else that it might happen to. Am I okay? Why are you asking me, am I okay? I'm always okay. Even when it's not okay, I'm always okay. I thought that was understood. You know. So uh hold on. Oh yeah. So at the end of the day, you know, it don't make a difference about the material. Because I guarantee you, a lot of folks out there right now is taking a lot of that materialistic stuff and they're having to get rid of it because they got to pay a bill or they got to put food on the table. Yeah, how you know what I'm saying? Oh well, I'm glad I had this in the bill. Really, really? Because you ain't got no more now. And what you gonna get back for it ain't gonna be nowhere near what you paid for it. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? You're not even gonna get half the price of what you paid for that. You're not even going to get in half. Think about that. Think about that. You could have went out there and bought a shirt for $1,000, right? times got hard, so now you got to get rid of that shirt and try to get some money so you can, you know what I'm saying, pay bills, put food on the table, whatever the case may be, right? So you go down and you know what I'm saying, you take it to one of these shops or whatever, and you think you finna get $1,000 back? Nope. You think you finna get 900, 8, 7, 6, 5? Hell nah. Shit, you be lucky if you get 250. You'll be lucky if you get 250. Because this is what people don't understand, and this is a very, very important thing, a very, very important concept that goes into shopping. I don't know how we got into shopping, but here we go. Anything that you buy at a store, once you leave that store, or if you're going to buy a car, that car lot, once you leave that spot, that item starts depreciating. It starts losing value. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think people get that. They think, okay, I get this. Oh, this is still, no, it's not. You know? Just like you see these dudes, you know what I'm saying, wearing all this jewelry and stuff like that. Look, that's kind of been, you know what I'm saying, a myth buster. Because they ain't paying that type of money for that stuff. And this whole Cartier thing that they got, you know what I'm saying, going around, man, really just like, oh, you talking about, oh, I can spend $60 and I can get that? You know, but I expect that from the state because this has always been a flashy state. Now we have different parts of California that are not like that. But when it comes to like a lot of, you know what I'm saying, the cities you guys all know, it's been like that for decades. You know, have to have the flashiest stuff or the biggest car, the biggest house. I gotta get them new J's before everybody else get them. You know. And yeah, true D. Yeah, a lot of that stuff, you know what I'm saying, look cool. But you see, I'm a lot smarter than that. I know for every $500, for every $400, for every $300, for every $200 that costs to buy a pair of shoes, them things ain't worth nothing but 50 cents, sometimes 75 cents, depending on the manufacturer. People out here spending all that money on them shoes and getting robbed. I'm guilty of it too. But I didn't go, it wasn't an everyday thing. Shoot. You know, it would be more like a reward. Like, you know, if you did good this semester in school and, you know what I'm saying, or you got a good grade on this test, you know what I'm saying, it'd be rewards. Like, I don't mind getting that stuff, but there has to be a lesson within that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you just give it to them, they ain't gonna know how to get it. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna appreciate it in the long run. Even when they do figure out how to get it, they're not gonna appreciate it because they don't know the struggle that it took to get to that. So I would rather put a lesson in that without, like, you know what I'm saying? A lesson without it being a lesson. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's kind of already is instilled by, you know, you work hard, you can achieve this. You work hard, you can achieve that. Right? So once you put them words out there, you don't need to, you just have to then put that into action. And that's one of the ways of action you can show. Because then because you're not going to tell them about it. So when it does happen, when they do something good, or they do achieve something great, and then you present it to them, first thing that's going to come to their mind is going to be like, oh, I did this to get to that. Oh, okay. Now it goes back to what you told them in the beginning. By working hard, you can achieve A, B, and C. And it's even and those efforts even has to get doubled up on if you happen to be successful and you out there, you know, living a millionaire's life. You know, because then, but then, see, this is where, you know, even when you get to that part, you still should show them you have to work just as much harder to keep it. Because you can make $1 million. You could make $1 million, but can you make $2 million? Because in order for you to make $2 million, you have to be able to know how to keep that $1 million. If you can't keep that $1 million, there ain't no way in the world you're going to be able to get to that 2 mil. You know, and that's the problem that I see with a lot of these youngsters out here that be out here in these streets, and they out here promoting all this gang stuff like it's something special. like this is the representation of gangbanging in California in 2025. If you a gangbanger in 2025 from the state of California, you're broke. Ain't no money in the streets. Crack ain't flowing like that no more. You know what I'm saying? The drug game, what it used to be, ain't there no more. Ain't nobody in the streets no more. But these dudes are all out in the streets doing these vlogs, acting like they're out there getting money. Ain't no money in the streets. And for us that know, we know that that's a false representation of what's really going on. You know, so that's putting a bad situation into a much worse situation, because you got a lot of these youngsters come up that's under them that's watching this stuff and thinking it's cool to just be hanging out and not making any money, not doing nothing productive. See, that's the difference between them today and us back then. We were still being productive. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it was, we was out there being productive. You know what I'm saying? Whether we was working at a fast food place or we had some makeshift business going on or wherever the case may be, it wasn't all related to the streets. We all have something productive going on. You know what I'm saying? Every gang member, every gang banger ain't in the streets doing the same thing that other gang bangers and gang members are doing. You got a lot of these dudes that, you know what I'm saying, are straight, you know what I'm saying, went to school and was straight nerds. You know what I'm saying? And then when they got done with their schoolwork, that's when they come out on the block. You know what I'm saying? That's when they would put their work in and do all that. You know what I'm saying? But these dudes out here 24/7 on this representation of, oh yeah, we out here getting this money. Woo. No, you out there catching Ricos. You out there catching Ricos. You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened to making the spot hot? What happened to that motto? These dudes is making the spot hot. Because every time you do one of these hood vlogs and you bring these people that is not from your area, not even from your state. Let's think about that. Not even from your state. Has no idea you bringing a whole nother world into your business. Now, 6 months later, you sitting behind bars collecting RICO charges. You know what I'm saying? And then still be up there acting like it's cool to be in jail. It's cool being locked up. When has it ever been cool to be locked up? That ain't never been cool. You know, we spend so much time trying to stay out of that thing, or if we're in there, trying to find a way to get out. These dudes is trying to find a way to get in. You know, it looked like a party in there. How you gonna have a party? Like, see, this is a mentality thing. How you gonna have a party in jail, and you have another grown man telling you when you have to go to sleep, when you have to get up, when you have to eat, when you can shower. The only real freedom you do have is going to the bathroom. But how much freedom is that? Because you got to do it right in front of your cellie. Like, your manhood get checked in that place as soon as you walk in there. But y'all think it's cool to do that stuff, though. Ain't nothing cool about that. Ain't nothing cool about that. You got your mamas at home. You got siblings at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of y'all got kids. A lot of y'all got kids. You missing time with your kids just so you can hang with your homies? Like, what kind of goofball stuff is that, though? And I know some homies that did that, and I didn't like that shit before I had a kid and after I had a kid. Because anytime I went and hung out, that was when, you know what I'm saying, I knew my daughter was secure. She was tucked in bed. You know what I'm saying? Everything was good. You know? But prior to that, you know what I was doing? I was putting that time in with my family. That's what I was doing. You know? I didn't leave the house until my daughter was in bed. You know what I'm saying? And it either be, you know what I'm saying, her mom there, or, you know what I'm saying, when she would go and spend the night with her grandma. I didn't leave until she was tucked in bed. You know? That last hour before she had to go to bed, we would sit there and we would watch SpongeBob, and we would watch Fairly Odd Parents. Oh no, it was Fairly Odd Parents. Yeah, because SpongeBob came on before. It was Jimmy Neutron. Yeah, we would watch those every night before she went to bed. You know, but these dudes, they wanna hang out and you know what I'm saying, just be neglectful to their kids because they want to be a gangbanger. Ain't nothing cool about that. Ain't nothing cool about that at all. You know what I'm saying? Nothing cool about that. You got kids out here and you ain't even taking care of them. And then, even if you are in their life, guess what you do? You bringing them around the nonsense. You know what I'm saying? You bring them to the hood. You got them just hanging like, what, huh? So now you putting your child in danger because you want to hang out with the homies. To do what? To do what? Y'all ain't doing nothing out there. What is y'all doing? Outside of killing each other for some, like y'all killing each other over words. Not because of actions. Not because of actions. Y'all killing each other over words. You know how sensitive y'all look? And then you got your mamas out there crying. You got your siblings out there crying. You got your grandparents, if they still around, you got them crying. You got aunties and uncles. Like you got everybody worried about you crying. but you ain't worried about them though, right? You ain't worried about them, right? But you always want to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I've said this before. If that's the life you want to live, disown yourself from your family immediately. Why put your family through that suffering? Why put your family through that suffering? If you say you love your family, if you say you love your mama, why would you put your mama through that? You know what I'm saying? You can't put your family through that suffering and that pain. You can't do that. You know, all that time that goes by while 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 you're sitting behind bars and your mama at home worried because she don't know she gonna get that phone call. Or if you're not even in there, you just out running the streets, she don't know if she gonna get that phone call or not. She don't want to ever get that phone call. But you say you love your mama though, right? How can you love your mama when you put your mama through that kind of pain? Now, I'm not sitting up here acting like I'm some innocent guy. I'm speaking on this from experience. It's better to hear it from somebody that went through it, right? Than somebody that ain't went through it. Your kids up there crying, talk about when daddy coming home. I want my daddy. I miss my daddy. They didn't ask to be here. You sure felt the time to put in that work to create the child, but you don't want to put in twice as much work to be a father to that child? Come on now. That's not fair to the kid or kids. Some of y'all got multiple kids. And did one thing for them. And did one thing for them. But you want to be a gangster though, right? You want to represent a neighborhood, right? You think going on rides and shooting and killing is the thing to do, right? There was progress being made. There was progress being made because we understood that the conditions that we live in, we must get out of these conditions. And that's where rap music was the catalyst, the platform to allow us to achieve those things that we could not achieve before. We was getting out of these neighborhoods. We was getting out of the hoods. We was getting out of the projects. Lives were being changed. And then somewhere along the line, it took I can't even say it went backwards. It took a complete reverse effect. And I can't even really pinpoint exactly where it happened at. But the thing that I know is what it's doing, it has been doing for the last 10 years. You know, as y'all know, when I had my daughter, that was my sign, my signal to take 2 steps back. And I stepped all the way back. You know, and ain't nobody hated on me for it. Because they knew I was choosing family over the streets. Because I chose to be a father than a knucklehead. And trust me, I was still getting the same calls. Man, hey, boo, come on out, hang out, man. Come on, do this and do that. You know what I'm saying? Who? I'm like, nah, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I got my daughter. You know what I'm saying? I gotta wait until she goes to bed. You know? And yeah, some of them had some, you know, they try to clown me or whatever. It's like, yeah, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But while you doing that, what you doing for your kids? Where your kids at? When the last time you spent time with your kids? That, you know what I'm saying? So I chose my family. And I will continue to choose my family every single time. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no way in the world I ever, 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 ever will step back foot in that arena again. Thank you. This ain't a sports talk. But if you want to talk sport, because Tyler and Muhammad's talking about it, I'm on a whole nother page right now. That would never happen. You know, especially nowadays. Why? Okay, let's just hypothetically. Nah, it's all good. No, let's just hypothetically think about this. Let's say I did decide to go back into the streets, right? I've had multiple opportunities. My daughter's being, you know what I'm saying, grown. she been on her own. So I've it's all good. I have you know what I'm saying? I've had multiple opportunities, but I chose family. You know what I'm saying? But this is hypothetically say I did, right? What's out there? What's out there? Whose corner am I going to stand on? Where am I going to travel back and forth? You know what I'm saying? Between Sac and Fairfield? What's out there? You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing out there. There's nothing out there whatsoever except death and RICO charges. those are the two things out there in the streets: death and RICO charges. If you decided to go back into the streets, I don't think I would have had the opportunity to know you. Oh man, shoot. So I would it would have been, man. Look, I I got out when I needed to get out, but I was kind of already like I had slowed down a little bit, right? Um, even prior to um my daughter being conceived, you know, because everything about the streets changed in the 2000s. Everything about the streets changed. So it was kind of like, eh, I need to do something different because this ain't cutting it. So I was kind of already going in that direction, but you know, having my daughter just solidified the whole thing. It wasn't even a thought. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had to go through any process or nah. February 11th, 2004, Jay Boog stepped out the game. You know, and gang, not with M, not N. You know how some of y'all be like, oh yeah, he did do that. Like, nah. Because I chose family over the streets. No. It might have been one or two, but they was more aligned with the Crips though. But now if it has something to do with drugs, because they weren't like BMF wasn't like a Crip set, but some of them did get blessed on, you know what I'm saying? So that's what they was pushing. But now they were a drug organization. So if you was in the drug game, you know what I'm saying, and the numbers made sense, they was gonna fuck with you. Family or friends comes first before everything else. Yep. You know. Yeah, because one of my good friends, shoot, he had been took a step back. Shit, he went and got married on. He went and got married on us. So shit, I would hang with him most of the time, you know. But now, if I need to bust a move though, you know what I'm saying? Shoot, you know, he was there, but he wouldn't always go though. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he would just stay back and you know what I'm saying wait until I came back. So not trying to glorify the life of the whole, but imagine BMF merging or at least trying to merge with the Bloods and the Crips. I mean, I think ultimately that was probably the plan because it was an all black organization. So, and you know, being that the Crips and the Bloods is black organizations, I think, you know what I'm saying, that would have been like had they not get caught up, I think that would have been like the ultimate goal at the end of the day. You know. I just wish we could have, man, I wish we could have got that last season though, man. Man. Somebody got to pick that show up. But to be honest though, you know what I'm saying? Philly was being petty. Yeah, for real. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, both sides is looking like some goofies though. Cause it's like, what are y'all doing? You know, it's like, do you guys have no substance? You know what I'm saying? You guys talk. See, and this is what irritates me though, right? Because I see these guys doing their podcasts and got their little channels or whatever, and you know, all they talk about is gang stuff. But they sit here and try to talk on an intellectual level. Like, hold on for a second. If you gonna talk on that intellectual level type stuff, then why you ain't got other stuff to talk about? Why is everything just pertaining to gang stuff? Like, are you trying to make your community better and get people up out of that, or not even get involved with that? Because the more you talk about it, more people are going to be intrigued, and the youngsters is really going to be intrigued by it and want to get on. Like, there got to be more than just that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I watch channels like Spider Lokes, because it just ain't just about gang stuff. Of course, he got it in there, but he got so much other content about other stuff that, you know what I'm saying, it's refreshing to see. Where you look at a lot of these other people's content, it's all gang stuff. Like, that stuff is tiring. Like, no, man, I don't know how anybody can just sit back and just listen to that stuff all day. But sit up here and try to have a message like that stuff is you can't clash the two together. You can't have a message and just be talking about gang stuff. All, like, your whole content is about gang stuff, and then in them videos you trying to have a message. What message is you saying? You know what I'm saying? What message is you saying? You know, intellectual. You know what I'm saying? Big words, big phrases, all of that. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I don't want you. You know what I'm saying? just going out there and doing that. It looks like you got a bigger plan, and you know what I'm saying? There's more to life than just this and that and everything else. Now we're going to get into this content, you know what I'm saying, about so-and-so from so-and-so hood, you know what I'm saying, talking about so-and-so from the other hood. Huh? That is so counterproductive. This is why a lot of stuff still goes on, because the message ain't clear. The message is not clear. You're saying one thing and then you're saying another thing. It's just like, wait, hold on. What are you trying to say? Because it's not clear on what you're saying. You're saying not to do this, but then you over here, you know what I'm saying, reacting to some gang stuff about somebody getting at somebody else. Well, shoot, I think I'm gonna pay more attention to this. I'm not gonna pay attention to that. I'm gonna pay attention to this. This is a lot more interesting, you know? No, it doesn't. Nah. Intellectual is just a higher frame of thinking. That's pretty much what it is. It's just a higher frame of thinking. Yeah, that's all it is. You know, so it is. That's why I don't like, you know what I'm saying? Some of these dudes, I just be like, I mean, some of them I am subbed up to. Um, just because every now and again I wanna I wanna get a little ridiculous entertainment, you know what I'm saying? But I don't watch their channels like that anymore. Like it's very rare that I will go to one of their channels, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, I don't necessarily get in the middle. I got my opinion because, you know what I'm saying, I may got something a little bit more with this side than I do with this other side, you know. But I don't, you know what I'm saying, unless it's some goofiness, then yeah, I might throw my opinion out there, even a little bit more harsher than usual. But when it comes to the West Coast, I try to support as much as possible, but it's hard to do that when I should see a bunch of goofy stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? When I look at my hometown, I'm I'm embarrassed half the time to even say I'm from there, considering how they done turned my town into goofball city. Okay, it's goofball city. You know, I you know, and I don't just speak for myself. You know, a lot of reputable individuals that have quoted the same thing, and they think that what they doing out there is cool. It's not cool. It's not cool. You guys can't do nothing on your own. You have to go and hop on somebody else's stuff just to get some numbers. You can't do numbers on your own, and that's sad. That's sad. But they think they know what they're doing. So, hey, are you familiar with the unique make audio? Oh, I still got to listen to that. My boy had just sent that to me. I just haven't had a chance to listen yet. you know, and it's sad to see some reputables co-signing a lot of it, you know. And nothing against them, but I can't rock with like that. I can't do it. I can't do it. You know. And some will understand it because they know who I am, and some will probably have some words, and I don't give a fuck about your feelings. you know, it's just I know what my town can be, but the way they going about it, nah, I can't rock with it. I can't rock with it at all. If I'm not mistaken, from LA, I could be. Yeah, he is. Yeah, I can't rock with that. I can't. mm, You know, and there's a lot more to the story that I won't talk about. You know, um, but I'll say this: there's a reason. There's a reason they want to not mention my name. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason they don't want to mention my name because if they mention my name, that that pretty much kills half of their conversations that they had up to that point. You know, and some of them, you know what I'm saying, not the. I'm not saying this as who they are today because I don't know where their mind or their heart is at today. But I know back then, yeah, I had some of them dudes, you know what I'm saying, about ready to take a dump on themselves. You know what I'm saying? Worrying about whether or not I was gonna get my hands on them or not because they knew they done fucked up. you know, Brother Jay, would you like a bio on some point? At some point, it's crazy you asked me that because I have thought about that. I have thought about that. You know, and even to the point to where um it was possibly going to happen because I remember I was talking to I don't remember what his name was, but he was an older dude, and and it's crazy because when you at the club, you know what I'm saying, you never know what kind of conversations might pop up, right? So, but yeah, we were no, we weren't at the club. We were at one of our friends' house. That's right, and we was in the backyard smoking a cigarette or whatever, and so we was just talking, and what I'm saying, I just gave him like I don't even know how we even got to that part, but I basically told him, of my story or whatever, and he was like, "Man, you got an interesting story there, yeah, shoot, people need to hear that." And I'm like, "For real?" I'm like, "Yeah," you know what I'm saying? Like, well, I mean, maybe, So, um, but yeah, I mean, it would. I mean, I would have to find somebody who would be willing to do it. That would be a let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. We're not doing a sports talk tonight though. But yeah, I do remember you. um, but yeah, yeah. If somebody wanted to do it, I would definitely do it. you know, because I do, when I think about it, I do got an interesting story. Who would you want to portray you? Oh shit. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. Um, I don't know. I have to think about that. I will have to think about that. But yeah, that yeah. I don't know. I don't know who would fit me. Cause I'd be real quick and I'd be like, nah, look, there's certain things I do and there's certain things I don't do. Don't be out here having me look like a Lifetime commercial, a Lifetime movie, right? Shoot. If you're gonna play me, you're gonna play me right. you know. Otherwise, I'll do it myself. I just have to play my older self. Because I can act, you know. So I guess if I was to play myself, it would have to be somebody that was well, it have to be two people. Somebody from my well, actually three people. Baby, elementary, junior high, and high school. Yeah. Dang, I would have to think about yeah, that would be interesting. But the other thing too is, and I know why people, may not want to work with me because I tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? I tell the truth. I don't fabricate nothing. I don't go along the lines because people want me to say this or do that. And I'm just like, no, I'm not finna do all that. I'm not finna be who you want me to be. I'm gonna be me, you know. If I can't be me, then I'll stay right where I'm at, because as soon as you allow them to make you into what they think that you are, you're done. Because now you got to live every single day like somebody else and you have to do things that their image of you would be that morally inside of you know is wrong. Now imagine that kind of pressure that you have to live with every single day. I'd rather continue doing YouTube like this than, you know what I'm saying, be some big podcaster. Oh, well, you know what I'm saying? They said you got to do this. And it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't care who the sponsor is. They wanted me because of how I am now. So what sense does it make for me to change myself because they want something different? So well, then what did you come after me for if you wanted something different? Could have just left me alone, you know? But that's how they get you. They'll sit there and run a whole story. Yeah, we love what you're doing. We love how you do it, and we think that your platform is great, and we want to take it to the next level with you. And as soon as you sign that contract and you get to that station, they're gonna tell you you can't say this, you can't say that. You must say it like this, and you must say it like that, and you can't talk about this, and you can't talk about that. Hold up. There's something very wrong with this picture. you know. See, Hollywood be doing, see, we are indeed, Hollywood be doing people story wrong. For example, they told Selena, Quantum Family Day only had a year after she died. Yeah, that's, I ain't even seen that movie yet. I gotta watch that. But that's some cold stuff though. But that's what they do though. That's what they do. You know, that's that's why I'll never succumb to what, nah, you take me as I am and I want it in writing. Forget that. You ain't talking to no dummy. You wanted me because this is how I am. So I need you to put that in the contract right there. I'm gonna need that right there in the contract, right? Y'all, I don't want that all the way in the back page either. I want that right there in the first page of the contract. And you know what I'm saying? I'll everything else I can go with. But if I can't be me, you know what I'm saying? Hell, shoot, if there's certain topics you don't want me to talk about, I'm good with that. Because that means I'll just be laser focusing on the topics that, you know what I'm saying, I can talk about, and I'll light them things up. You know what I'm saying? If they didn't agree, they would have made the day home version of Selena. Yeah, true that. You know, so yeah, that's how I would handle it. I'm not falling for the ugly though at all. So, all right, y'all. I'm about to get up off of here. Thank y'all for coming through. This was a quite interesting live. And I hope whoever watches this back gets something from this and take in exactly what I'm saying. And if some people hear this and they get mad on me, hey, leave it in the comments. But I'll tell you this. I don't care about your feelings. Okay. I don't care about your feelings. You know, that's one thing everybody know about me. I don't care about your feelings when it comes to this thing, because I've been doing this YouTube thing and I'm gonna continue doing this YouTube thing because I know how to do it. And if you don't know how to do it, well, then you might find something else better to do. So, am I going live tomorrow? I might. We got to see. I might. But all right, y'all. Until next time, y'all have a good night, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.